Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today in this video I'm going to be reviewing Nightwolf's series called the Lego Daredevil series or something like that. But yeah, the credits are rolling and I haven't read them yet. But yeah, anyways, now I'm just going to be reviewing the series because most of his videos are announcements and updates and tests. So I kind of searched around for the only Brick films that he had. So I decided they weren't that long, so I'm just gonna mash them up together. So yeah. So yeah, I think we're all ready. So yeah, let's begin. All right. So as you can see, we kind of start off with this short action sequence where basically, Daredevil's, he's fighting some crime. Personally, in my opinion, it wasn't really long enough. I would have liked to see a 20-second to 30-second action scene in the beginning. That would have really solidified more of what was going on instead of just like a easy does it thing. But I really feel like Daredevil's more of a street level kind of character, so I feel like it should have been the fight should have been a little bit longer. Maybe the crooks would stand, hold up their own a little bit. That would be nice, and also it would kind of show that Daredevil isn't like the best at fighting, But yeah, the animation already is it's pretty. I wouldn't say fluent, but there were some frames where basically like sometimes it would just like it would replay something, and I think that was an accident. But yeah, the animation was kind of choppy, but that kind of happens to everyone, and there actually wasn't really that much light flicker at all, which is actually pretty unique. So yeah.
He's upstairs, the second room on the right.
Why? Why are you here? To do Fisk's dirty work? What's your aim? Why did you kill her?
Alright, so kind of like in the beginning of the portion that I just played, I was a little bit confused as to what was going on. Like, there was, there was like fade-ins, fade-outs, and then the screen turned black for a second, and then, but the voice acting here is pretty good. Daredevil, he really sounds like Daredevil, and, I think it was scripted well. So yeah, I think that the cinematography could be worked on. It doesn't seem like there's really anything that's going on with it, and I think that you could experiment a little more with that.
Because you got in my way, and I don't do dirty work.
So here, you could really hear the transition between you could hear like the fuzz going on in the background, like slowly coming in, and I think that you could have transitioned that better. But yeah, the voice actor was good, like pretty amazing. Not amazing, but he was pretty good, because he really gave that emotion into it. But it was really hard to understand what he was saying. Maybe it's on him for not having his mic like all set up and everything, or like not even being near it or something, or being under the blankets or whatever. But I don't know. I had a hard time understanding what he said. I had to replay it 3 times to hear what he said. But yeah, I also think that you could work a little more on your set design, because really nothing's going on. It's just like a flat, like and all like plain, and obviously I'm guilty of this too. But that doesn't mean that I can't give constructive criticism about it. So yeah.
That's not a good enough excuse.
What? Sad? Because you couldn't do anything but watch her die?
So here is where we have this interesting fight scene. But yeah, I personally think that you should have changed the cinematography here. But yeah, there's not really much to say, but I really feel like I could see how they were like locking blades together, and like there were sparks coming off of it, but like they were really inconsistent as to where they were coming from. They should have just came from one area, and also like there weren't enough sparks. Like it should have been every single frame a new spark appears. I've done it before, and the results are amazing. So I think that you should have done that, and maybe silenced it and then added in a new spark effect. But yeah, I think that the voice acting isn't as good in this part. Especially the script, like, all you could do was hold her. That was a little bit weird. It made me question the context of the situation. But yeah. what is nice is how clear the story is. It gets like really straightforward to the point, and it's really interesting to see the story play out. I think you just need to work on the more descriptive like lines that they have.
And hold her. Her cold, dead eyes. Ah!
Alright, so in that scene, I was a little bit confused as to what happened. I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that he fell out a window and that was the glass breaking. I think that you should have added in like an effect where it showed him, that happening. And also when he was running towards him or like staggering backwards, it looked like he was wobbling and it was kind of awkward. But I definitely did like the voice acting for that part, when he was screaming for his life, like that sounded really good. So I think that the voice actor, whoever voices the guy who just jumped, I was about to say that you should really give him better lines, but I just realized that he died, so yeah. But anyways, maybe cast him again for something else because he's a pretty good voice actor. I think you should use him more.
Oh, Daredevil, I'm coming for you.
Alright, so overall thoughts on the brick film. We're gonna use the same thing that I did last time because I think it's a pretty efficient way of doing it. I'm not gonna do points because it's kind of weird, but yeah. So out of 10, we're gonna start with animation. I would give the animation a 4 out of 10. And keep in mind, guys, 5 out of every single categorical thing is average. So I'll give it this a 4 out of 10. It's not bad. It's not good. It's kind of in that neutral area, barely below average. I think that it should have been longer, I can't say that there wasn't enough animation because it's only like a 1-minute brick film or a 2-minute brick film or whatever. I just think that there was too much still frames of like credits and stuff and not enough animation. And the fight scene should have been a lot longer, instead of just one like blade lock with dialogues. Fight scenes should never have that much dialogue in them. Obviously that scene was fine. It would have been fine if there was dialogue in that scene if there was more fighting. So I would give it a 4 out of 10. Yeah. For editing, I would give it a 6 out of 10. I would give it a 6 out of 10 because the music is nice. It fits the situation well, especially in the end scene. Because you really get that idea. Like someone just died, and now Daredevil not only has to deal with the loss of the person that he couldn't save, but also the person that he killed. And so that helped a lot. Paint the picture of what Daredevil's all about, and also what he's dealing with in this current situation. So yeah, I would give it a 6 out of 10. I think that it could have been a little bit better done because there was a lot of like, you could hear like a lot of like fuzz in the background in between lines. So I think that you could have like transitioned, or something like that. So yeah, I give it a 6 out of 10. And then yeah, so then also for story, which is the final portion, I would give it a 7 out of 10. Actually, no, I'd say 8 out of 10 because mainly just because like everything made sense and added up, and it was really nice to see how the main villain for the scene was, you could see how he was manipulating Daredevil. Like he had a lot of emotions going on in this scene. Like someone just died, and he also just killed another guy. So even in death, this guy has won the match against Daredevil, because now Daredevil is emotionally destroyed, and he just did all he needed to do, and I'm assuming that Daredevil's going to be still hurt in the second one. If he's not, then I won't take away points for this one, just because, standing alone, this one is pretty good. So I'd give it an 8 out of 10 for story-wise. So, yeah, so when you put that all together, it would probably be around a 6.5 out of 10 overall as a brick film. Keep in mind, guys, 5 out of 10 is that's average. So yeah, you got an above average brick film, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, so now we're gonna move on to the next one and see if that's any good. Awesome. So we're starting off. The intro's looking fire, and I think this new intro, it looks pretty cool. I like the high pitched noise that it's making, like the high note that it's making. That sounds pretty nice, and also like the flip comic thing that normally the actual MCU intro does. That was pretty awesome. So yeah, I know that you didn't make it, or maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I don't actually know, but it looks pretty awesome. So I'm glad that you put it in.
Daredevil, here I come.
So I really like the implication of a previously kind of thing. It was really nice because it made me feel like this was like a real series, like a legitimate thing that you'd see on TV. So that was pretty nice. What I think you should have done for the previously is put in like a different filter. That way we know for certain that it's a previously. You just feel that it's like the last episode. Usually I put in the dreamy filter on iMovie whenever I'm doing a previously thing. Or that's what I've started doing, at least on my Crisis on Infinite Earths brick film. That's coming out on Wednesday, by the way. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty fire. Or whenever June 21st is. But, yeah. Anyways, we're going to continue. But, yeah, I think you should have just used a filter. But I think it looks pretty awesome how it is. So, it's not really that big of a deal. I just think for next time it would be cool. So already we got some pretty awesome music playing in the background, and this cool lightning sound effect, which I really liked. That was really interesting and really got me into the mood, of like what Daredevil's all about, But yeah, that was really nice, and I like the quote that you put in where it says, "I see humans, but when I look in their eyes," I forget what the saying was, but it was pretty cool. This isn't scripted, so I never really script any of my note videos like on this channel, but yeah, whatever, it's fine. I'm good at freestyling, so it was pretty nice how you incorporated this cool lightning sound effect and put in this awesome quote. It was really cool. I was a little bit confused because Daredevil's blind, and I think that you should have tackled more of the idea that Daredevil is blind. I feel like we don't really get that sense, and we need to be kind of like reminded about that. That way we understand, wow, this guy must be really cool if he's able to be blind and also fight crime at the same time, That would have been cooler, if you kind of implicated that more, especially in the first episode, because we didn't really get a lot of that.
Way to go, Dad. You won the game.
So here, I like the fact that you kind of show like an image, a still image of like where we are, just so we understand what's going on. I think that what you should have done is built a more practical, set, and build the lockers, build like red dividers, and then maybe put in like a small subtitle in the corner that says like where it is, like gym locker or whatever. That would have been a lot better, I think, because it doesn't seem as I guess real, that because you're using a real image, like a stock photo image, but it's Lego. So I feel like the only time that you could use real life footage is when it's like a far landscape, like a city or something. It's a lot less odd because it's like from really far away, so you're like, oh, okay, maybe closer you would see that it's Lego. So I think that you could have made it more practical. Alright, so I know that it kind of feels a little bit weird that I'm pausing at the scene, but I didn't really understand who was saying hi there. It was a little bit confusing. I'm pretty sure the guy from the left said it, but I can't be too sure. You probably should have once again, cinematography, pan, or just have like a scene where like a still image, you just show him, and then you understand, oh, okay, that's the guy talking. It makes it a lot easier to see, or maybe just like have him lift his hand up, because I didn't understand he was talking.
I know that.
Okay, so it's interesting because I understand what happened. Daredevil's dad just died, but I only realized what was going on until Daredevil came back. I only realized what was going on, you know. I think that you should have said like years ago, because I didn't even know that it was a flashback at all. I thought it was something else. But yeah, and you know, like all I heard was like a weird grunt from Matt, like at the end of that scene. I was a little bit confused from that, but yeah, I think you should have made it more clear from the get-go that it was a flashback, because I didn't understand it until, you know, Matt's dad got killed. But yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so in this scene, I'm not really sure what's going on. I just see two people fighting, really. And it's kind of making me confused as to what's going on. I can't really tell. I just see two people fighting, like I said before. I think you should have made it more obvious as to what was going on. Because we barely get to see the characters at all, you know? The episodes are kind of short, and the cinematography is always from the up. You know, cinematography really means a lot, you know, despite what a lot of people think. You know, cinematography really, it makes the brick film a lot less confusing, because then you understand what's going on a lot more. You can see people's faces, you understand who's talking, you know, you can understand what's going on, you understand why characters are acting in certain ways, because you can see the reaction from certain angles. It makes it more believable. So once again, sorry for pausing so much, but, you know, I kind of just had to get my opinions out there. I really like the blur, like, you know, how it showed, like, it's kind of like, you know, like, you see the character right here, then you see him, you know, in another place, you're like, oh, wait, where's he going? But you get the blur, so you understand where he's going, and then it's like, wait a second, I thought he was over here, now he's over here. You know, you really get that cool effect, you know, that you'd see from Daredevil. Even though, obviously, like, you know, it might seem a little bit, like, blurry, you wouldn't understand what's going on. But I think that you did it well. You know, I understood what was happening. The character wasn't like teleporting all over the place and everything. So yeah, that was pretty nice, and I really like that blur. It looked really cool, and I think that, you know, not enough people really use that onion skin effect. So I'm really glad that you used it.
I see you're in early, turning a new leaf.
Hey, Foggy. Yeah, I decided to be early today. Just having a trip down the memory lane.
Alright, so in this scene, I'm not really sure who's talking that much. I kind of have some sort of idea because I know who's walking and from the dialogue, but I feel like if you're not paying attention for like at least one moment, you'll kind of be confused. You know, it's like the Lord of the Rings movies. They're pretty awesome, but if you miss one scene, then you're gonna be confused the whole movie. That's why I think, you know, you should have used cinematography. And I know I keep saying cinematography. But, you know, it just feels like it has a really big effect on your brick film, because there's not really much potential without cinematography, and it's so confusing in some scenes if you don't have any cinematography, which definitely is demonstrated in your brick films. So yeah, that's mainly why I'm telling you this, because, you know, it's really important, and I really hope that you start using more cinematography. You know, like, instead of just like over the thing. Maybe it's just your tripod, but, you know, maybe, like, make a tripod out of, like, Lego bricks, and maybe just, like, lean your phone or whatever you're using on, like, on one of those one of those said Lego bricks, because, you know, I really want to see, like, the views that I make. I'm not saying that they're amazing, I'm just saying, like, you know, views from, like, the floor where you can see, like, the characters and their, like, level ground. It's a lot nicer to see, because it feels like it's not, like, a play where, like, everything's the same, you always get the same angle. You know, you're sitting down stationary and everything, but it feels like it's more live action, you get to see what's going on.
Oh, remember when we first met?
Hi, Foggy.
Yeah, I'm Foggy. Oh, you're my roommate?
Alright, so this scene kind of doesn't really feel necessary like the flashback. I'm starting to understand when the flashbacks happen. It's whenever the white thing appears, like the white screen. But yeah, so I'm starting to get the hang of it. But yeah. I really feel like the flashback in that scene wasn't really necessary. All that, because, you know, it's kind of like filler words, but all that there was filler. It's like, you know, it's like saying, hey, remember when we first met? And then it flashes back and they're like, hi, I'm Foggy. Hi, I'm Matt. And then, you know, like, we didn't really need to see that. But yeah, I didn't really understand why he said remember when we first met, but it was still nice to see how they care about their friendship. The dynamic's pretty nice from what I've seen so far, so that's pretty cool. Like having characters that, can relate to each other. I really wasn't happy that you didn't continue and carry on the arc from the first episode to the second one. I really wanted to see that happen, because not a lot of brick films are more serious like that, and, like, not a lot of smaller brick filmers actually, have the talent to make that kind of story. And I'm not saying that I have talent. I mean, I'm not that good myself, but, I know that you know, and that I also know. I know that we both know how to make a good story, and how to tell a really good story, as a matter of fact. So I really feel like you could have done better with this story. So, yeah, the brief film's pretty much over now, so I'm just gonna start, going off with, with, the overall thing, and explaining why. So, for the animation, this one, I have to say, it was a little bit better, because there was a lot more animation in this one than there was in the last one. I would give it a 5 out of 10. It was average, honestly, because sometimes there were some things that didn't really make sense to me, I didn't understand. But what I did like was the blur effect that you used when he was fighting the guy. That was really nice. I like that touch. So yeah, we're gonna move on to the next category now. Editing. Editing. I would give it a 5 out of 10 once again. It was pretty average. Everything was pretty nice in the brick film. The reason why I'd give it 5 and not a 6 like I did last time was because the flashback scenes, I didn't understand what was going on. And you might think that it's not really important that I didn't understand for one moment, but it's like, a lot of those flashbacks kind of, like, drove the whole plot, and it was really confusing in certain scenes. But yeah, in the last part, which is, so the last part, which is story, I would give it a 4 out of 10. There wasn't, I didn't really understand what was going on. Like, what was the point? I feel like you could just skip this part and then move on to the next one, and it wouldn't really matter. All it did was really just establish one character and that they're friends, but I feel like you could have done the same thing in the next episode. But yeah, I think that this could have been, like, some sort of prologue, Because, the plot about the plot about Daredevil feeling guilty about losing all the characters, that was completely dropped, and I was confused as to why, but, I feel like we both could use some lessons, I guess, but yeah, I really feel like you should have continued with that, and I really feel like this brick film didn't have to be made, and you could have just gone straight to episode 3 and make that episode 2, because nothing really was accomplished in this brick film, so, it doesn't really feel like that much of, like, a good spending of time, I spent, like, 40 minutes making this brick film, and I haven't even finished my homework yet, and yes, I still do have school for, like, the next few days, and then I'm done. So yeah, I'm done on Thursday, I think, actually. So yeah, that's Thursday's my final day, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, luck me wish. So yeah, this brick film's getting long enough, so yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace.